What's going on, BLV football fans, NFL gamblers, and more? It's Mitch here with your NFL Week 8 picks, straight up and versus the spread. And I'm back this week with a absolute vengeance. Like the Dark Knight himself, I'm not dying a villain. It's time for Week 8. It's bounce back week here on the BLV. Gronk, spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. We're pretty much halfway through the NFL regular season. It's been a great season so far, and I thank you for that. All the consistent viewership, the Gronk spikes to the like button, the subscriptions, the patrons, the YouTube members. Thank you. Shout out to everybody. And let's get going. But before we do, I gotta show you my record. So, straight up record, 69-37 on the year. You can put that up against the best. I don't care. Put it up against the best. Spread record, 61-43-2. Over-under record, 57-46-3. And straight up last week, we went 7-6. By far our worst week of the season. But we didn't go below 500. So at least we didn't do that. You know, last week I heard a lot of people did really bad. So I wasn't the only one. But at least we still survived above 500 at 7-6. I felt like I had some really good picks. But I also had some really bad picks. So we're going to try to bounce back this week in week number 8. What's going on, everybody? Let's say hello to the people. We got Durkant in the chat. We got Laura. What's going on, Laura? How you doing? She says, hey, Mitch. What's up, Harley Quinn? She says, hey, hey, hey. What's up, Mr. Pharaoh Brown himself? Gronk, spike that like button, Monty. We've got a Dominican Republic viewer, Abraham. What's up, man? Sing is in the chat. Of course. What's going on, Sing? Sing wants a big week picking. He already told me he's frustrated. He hasn't been picking games well. Deshaun is in the chat. He says Buffalo's going to beat Tampa Bay. All right, Deshaun. Thank you for that. What's up, Ruben? How you doing, man? Durkant said he also did awful last week. I pretty much think everyone did awful last week. I don't think that you're the only one. So don't feel bad. I think everyone did awful. My best bets will be out tonight. I just recorded that. So excited about that too. I feel like I have some really strong plays this week. So make sure you check that video out whenever you can. Let's begin with Thursday Night Football, guys. And keep up in the chat. Let me know who you're picking for each game. And give me your score prediction and any bold prediction you have for the game. All right. Thursday Night Football. Got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo looked not very good versus the New England Patriots last week. So much so that they went from a team that was an 8.5-point favorite to losing the game outright and almost should have been blown out. I mean, they were losing by double digits to the New England Patriots and that inept offense at one point. That's not very good if you ask me. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost another close game versus a division rival, the Atlanta Falcons, 16-13, where Desmond Ridder turned the ball over numerous times, and they still couldn't take it because they got Baker the commercial maker in that game. And honestly, I feel like this is a big bounce back spot for the Bills, as it is for the BLV. They've got to bounce back in a big way. I think they will win the game. I'm not convinced about the Bills covering 8.5. I honestly feel like that's too big of a spread for this defense to cover. Maybe I'm wrong, but literally this defense can't cover. You know what I mean? Like, they can't cover a spread. They can't cover me. They couldn't cover Durkant in the slot right now. So, I mean, they made Demario Douglas look like 2009 Wes Welker in that game last week. I think Tampa Bay covers this spread, because I like Tampa's defense, and if there's one thing you can take from that Patriots game from the offensive point of view from Josh Allen, who was superb, I thought, for most of that game. He was escaping a ton of pressure and a ton of sacks. and still making throws down the field pretty consistently. It wasn't Josh Allen's fault why they lost the game. Stephon Diggs, he's still there and playing phenomenal football. They need to find a way to replace Dawson Knox. I think Kincaid had his best game as a pro last week. I think that will continue. James Cook continues to be an absolute marvel at running back, explosive, makes people miss consistently. I would like to see him be more involved in the passing game more consistently. And Gabe Davis needs to take his costume in for Halloween, Casper the Ghost, and come out of his shell, because I don't know where he's been. But the Buffalo Bills defense is my concern here. The Buffalo Bills defense, I really feel like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, if he's playing, I know that he's injured, they'll work versus this secondary. And I don't think Tampa's going to get overwhelmed up front. The one thing you would say is Tampa doesn't have the best run game. Buffalo's not great against the run, but I don't really think that will matter. But I do think Baker will make some throws. I do think these receivers will make some plays to make the game somewhat competitive. I think Tampa's defense will be somewhat competitive here because New England pressured Allen. I think Tampa can pressure Allen. I believe Tampa leads the league in pressure percentage this year. They're going to blitz occasionally. They're going to have different looks. They've got a pretty solid secondary when healthy. All those guys are there, ready to go. And I do think this offensive line for the Bills is definitely susceptible to the Bucs pass rush, Vita Vea, Shaq Barrett, and company. So I feel like the Bucs can cover this spread. I will not be betting this game, but I will be picking the Bills to win because ultimately I just don't think they can lose this game, especially at home where they've been so good this year and in the past years with Josh Allen. So give me the Bills to win. Give me the Bucs to cover the game. I think it will be about a touchdown difference in this one. Next, the Jacksonville Jags at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jacksonville has been favored by about 2.5, 3. There might be a 3.5 down the road here, but man, I am not betting this game. I'm not betting a Steelers game for the rest of the year. I don't care what you do to me. I don't care. I am not betting a Steeler game for the rest of the year because the Pittsburgh Steelers make absolutely no sense. They absolutely stink, yet their record is multiple games above 500. They have arguably the worst offense in the sport, and yet they beat the Rams somehow. TJ Watt somehow is a Greek god. He is literally Hercules on a football field. Stop the comparisons. I don't want to hear Casper the Ghost, Nick Bosa being compared to TJ Watt. I don't want to hear it. Bosa brothers will never be as good as the Watt brothers. Ever. I don't want to hear it. Stop. TJ Watt should go in the Hall of Fame if the Steelers win this game. Because I have no idea how they win this game. I have no idea. The Jags have the better quarterback. The Jags have the better offense. The Jags have the better defense. Arguably. The Jags have the better corners. The Jags have the better linebackers. The Jags have pretty much the better everything. But the Steelers are at home, and the Steelers have TJ Watt. So, you have to consider whether or not the Steelers will win this game. Because there is one matchup in this game that will give the Steelers a shot. And it's the pass rush of the Steelers versus a sketchy Jacksonville offensive line. All year, the Jacksonville offensive line has been sketchy-detchy. That is not a word. But that is why I'm not betting this game. Now, that being said, Trevor Lawrence gets the ball out quick. Trevor Lawrence can avoid sacks and make plays on the move. And I think Jacksonville's been really good running the ball. And that is going to be an area where Pittsburgh definitely is tested because they haven't been great against the run this year since losing Cam Hayward. And the other side, I don't really see how Pickett gets anything going. The Jacksonville defense is really good against the run. Jacksonville has really good corners. A smaller guy, Darius Williams, who should be a good matchup for Deontay Johnson, and a bigger, faster guy in Tyson Campbell. I believe he'll be playing. who can take on the big Mr. Pickens there, who's been having a great year. So there's good matchups across the board here. I'm going to lean towards Jacksonville because they're the better team. And I do think their running game is going to give them a significant edge, which is not going to allow Trevor Lawrence to get bombarded by TJ Watt. And I just think they're the overall better team. Again, I'm going to say it. But the Steelers are, I'm not trying to lose my money. I'm not trying to lose my money. Okay? All right. That's it for that game. Gronk spiked the like button. The Saints at the Colts. The Colts are -1. I'm taking the Saints. I'm taking the Saints. Now, there's one thing I'll say about this game. Gardner Minshew will not play like he did last week. That's not going to happen 2 weeks in a row. And if it does, I'll eat my words. Because I love Gardner Minshew, but he's not going to do it twice in a row. There's one thing why I'm taking the Saints. Let's go back into the history books. Last year, Gardner Minshew played the Cowboys. Unbelievable game for Gardner Minshew. I think he had like almost 400 yards against one of the best defenses in the NFL, playing as the backup in for Jalen Hurts that week. They still lost the game, but he was really, really good. The week after, Jalen Hurts also didn't play. They played the New Orleans Saints and Dennis Allen. And Shane Steichen was the offensive coordinator and the play caller for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Saints won that game in Philadelphia, if I'm not mistaken, 20-10. And I think Minshew had 1 touchdown and 1 interception, and he had a 56% completion percentage. So that is what I'm going with here. I think Minshew will struggle against Dennis Allen's defense in this game because I believe in the history of this matchup between Steichen and Allen and Minshew. And let's be fair, the Colts are surprisingly good running the ball and have a surprisingly good offense, but they're not as good as the Eagles were last year supporting Minshew on the offensive line or at wide receiver. So that is a big factor. I think the Saints win this game. They're the more desperate team. I think they need this win more, and I think they get it. Next, the New York Jets at the New York G-Men. Jets are favored by 3. This one is tricky. I honestly don't even have a pick written down yet for this game. Usually I go through each game and then I pick it, and then I'll make sure that I say that on the air so I can keep track of my picks so that nobody can come after me and say, Mitch, you said this on Wednesday. That was your pick. You can't go back and change your pick. So I always have consistency. But this is one of those games I just have 3 question marks next to because I have no idea. But the Giants are playing really good football. The Giants are technically the home team. This is the Battle of New York. You may see one Spider-Man or possibly both for this game. I feel like Miles is a Jet fan. Peter is a Giants fan. That's a side note. But I'm going to say that it's Zach Wilson's season. I'm going to say it's Zach Wilson's season. I'm going with Zach Wilson. I don't care who's playing. Tyrod Taylor, Daniel Jones. Give me Zachary Wilson. Zach Wilson season. The Jets, I think, have been the overall better team this year. I think their defensive line dominates the Giants' offensive line. And I think that is enough to win. Now, I'm scared of Wink Martindale. I'm scared of Wink Martindale blitzing the daylights out of my boy, Zachary. But I think that Garrett Wilson is going to thrive in this game. I think Breece Hall breaks a couple big runs. And I think the Jets defense comes to play. I'm going Jets with the win. And I'm going Jets. The 3 scares me. The 3 scares me. I might even try to thread this with the 3. If it was 3.5, I'd definitely take the Giants. But I'm going to lean towards the Jets because there's no hook. So I'm going to go Jets minus the points. Jets to win. Zach Wilson, baby. Zach Wilson. Next, We're going with the Atlanta Falcons at the Tennessee Titans. Atlanta is -3. The Titans, I heard they might trade Derrick Henry to the Baltimore Ravens. Woo! That would be scary. That would be scary. I would not want to game plan for Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. But the Atlanta Falcons and the Tennessee Titans. The Titans have already traded Kevin Byard. You have to wonder what the morale is of the Titans, how they're feeling in their locker room. I think Atlanta is basically the Tennessee Titans, except they have better weapons and a better offensive line. Arthur Smith and Mike Vrabel, obviously a lot of familiarity there. I think Desmond Ridder, if the Titans win this game, it's because Desmond Ridder turns it over again 4 times. But as long as Desmond Ridder only turns it over once or maybe twice, I think Atlanta should win this game. Atlanta's defense right now is ranked in the top 5 in the NFL. They have a very strong interior defensive line, which I think is going to both stop the run and create some havoc for the young quarterbacks of the Titans, which apparently we might see both in this game. Atlanta has just been a very solid defense that you can count on week to week, and it would be hard to imagine that Titans get over 20 points in this game. On the other side, I do think the Titans are going to make it difficult for the Falcons to run the ball, but I also feel like if the Titans overplay the run, that Ridder has proven he can make some throws down the field with Drake London, Pitts, Jonnu Smith, now Van Jefferson there, and all these other guys. I do think that they have the advantages on the outside more so than the Titans do. And I feel like even as bad as Ridder has been in moments, I feel like he's the better quarterback here. And I feel like the Falcons are just the better team. It's a scary spot on the road for me to be betting this game, but I'm going to take the Falcons to win and the Falcons to cover. It's interesting. It's an interesting game because of the coaching familiarity, but I'm going to go Falcons -3, Falcons to win. Next, Los Angeles Rams at the Dallas Cowboys. This one is tricky. I think a lot of people are going to be on the Rams with the points here, and I don't necessarily blame them. McVay, Stafford, Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, a good receiving core versus Dallas, who's been a little bit up and down offensively. But something is telling me that the Cowboys are going to blow the Rams out, like by multiple scores. Not necessarily saying it's going to be like 31-14, but I kind of feel like Dallas's pass rush is going to dominate this game, and that's going to spiral out of control for the Rams. This is the type of matchup where I like the Cowboys because the Rams are susceptible on the offensive line. And even though I love their receivers right now, I do feel like Dallas has one of the best pass defenses in football. And I would expect Gilmore to be on probably Nakua more often than not. And I would expect the Cowboys to double team Kupp in a lot of these situations. I also wonder how this Rams offense will operate versus more of a man coverage defense than a zone coverage defense, which Dallas tends to play more man than zone. And Stafford is, I would say, had more success against soft zone this year. I do think that man coverage does throw off the timing and does allow that pass rush to get there. I could see Parsons out of the bye having a massive game here, and Dan Quinn's stunts having a big impact on this game up front. I also like Dallas offensively in this game. I feel like Tony Pollard will be able to run the ball pretty successfully. The Rams defense just, I don't know what they bring right now. I don't see anyone that's slowing down CeeDee Lamb on the other side. I would hope that the Cowboys would go into the bye and say, hey, let's get more targets to Brandon Cooks and less targets to Michael Gallup. That might actually help our offense a little bit more. I think Dallas has the clear advantage on the defensive and offensive lines. I think Dallas will be able to protect Dak. I think Dak will have a lot of time. The Cowboys are good at home. The Cowboys offense tends to be better at home. And I feel like Dallas is going to win this game. And I think this is a scary line because it looks like a lot of points, but I actually don't think it is. I think Dallas wins, and I think Dallas covers, and I think they win by about 10 points in this game. Like 31-21 or something like that. I think this is going to be a popular upset pick, but I think that's going to be wrong. So that's my assessment of this game. Dallas wins because they're better at the line of scrimmage. Next, the Houston Texans at the Carolina Panthers. Carolina is getting 3 points at home after the bye. This doesn't really make a lot of sense to me from a spread perspective. The Texans have pretty much graded out as an average team this year. CJ Stroud has graded out as a top 12 quarterback across many metrics. Their offense is a top 15 unit, and their defense is a top 20 unit. Meanwhile, the Carolina Panthers have the second worst defense in the NFL, the second worst quarterback in the NFL, and one of the 5 worst offenses in the NFL by EPA. So that being said, this spread doesn't really make sense. Other than the fact that Carolina is at home, and maybe you like their change at offensive play caller, the Panthers, I think this is also going to be like one of those spots where people buy into a narrative for some reason that Carolina's going to win. But this is a BLV propaganda game. This is a BLV brand game. You have to go with CJ Stroud over Bryce Young. Like I was saying in the draft, you have to pick CJ Stroud over Bryce Young. You think I'm going to change that now? I'm not changing it. I'm not changing it one iota. I'm going with the Texans to win, the Texans to cover, the Texans to have a huge game on offense. Carolina has no defense left. Jeremy Chin on IR. J.C. Horn on IR. Shaq Thompson on IR. Von Bell injured. Give me the Texans. Give me C.J. Stroud. Next, the Philadelphia Eagles at the Commanders. Guys, Gronk, spike the like button if you haven't already. The Eagles. I've got fly, Eagles, fly. On their way to a victory and a cover. I've got the Eagles to win. The Eagles to cover. I took the Commanders as a best bet earlier this year with the points against the Eagles, but I'm reversing that this time. I actually think this time the Eagles get their head out of their rear end, and I think they win this game and they cover. Kevin Byard, he's going to come in. He's going to make a big play in this game. I don't know what it's going to be, but he's going to make a big play. I think the Eagles' defensive line probably gets 5 to 6 sacks on poor Sam Howell, who's on pace to break David Carr's record. And I think the offense of the Eagles has a big day throwing the football here. I think Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown both have good games. And I think the Eagles will cover. It will still be kind of close for a period, but I think the Eagles will win by a touchdown. So, they cover. Next, the Minnesota Vikings at the Green Bay Packers. Vikings minus a point. So, let me get this straight. I've got Kirk Cousins versus Jordan Love. I don't have to squint to be able to see that Kirk Cousins is better. So, I have Brian Flores taking on Jordan Love. Okay? I also have Kevin O'Connell, who was a magician on Monday night, taking on Joseph Berry. Without Jair? I wonder who I'm going to pick in this game. I've got Jordan Love versus Kirk Cousins. I don't care where the game is at. I don't care if it's on Pluto, Mars, or Jupiter. I'm taking Kirk Cousins. I don't care. Have you guys watched Jordan Love lately? Like, I loved what I saw early in the year. The guy can't throw. He's missing so many passes, and then Matt LaFleur won't call a pass down the field. They've got a man that runs a 3.9 in Christian Watson, and they won't throw the ball past 20 yards. Brian Flores is going to send heat in this game, and Love is going to turn it over. And the Vikings are going to win because Joe Barry doesn't know what he's doing. Joe Barry does not know what he's doing. He has damn near a Pro Bowl front seven, and he doesn't know what he's doing. How can you let Javonte Williams and the Broncos run all over you? I will never know. I am taking the Vikings. Next, the New England Patriots, the Miami Dolphins. I actually saw this spread is 9.5 now. I have it at 9 here on here, but I'm going to go based on 9.5, although it doesn't really make a difference for me. This is a great game, I think. This is a great game. Miami coming off of a loss. New England coming off of a win. Miami's fan base, probably the most depressed they've been all year. New England's fan base, probably the most excited they've been all year, or at least for some time. This is going to be a good game. And you look at Miami, they're heavily beat up right now. Tyreek Hill, Raheem Mostert didn't practice today. I expect both to play, but I'm not certain. Jalen Waddle is injured, although I'm not sure he'll be out either. The offensive line, I am sure, will be missing pieces. The left side of the offensive line, Teron Armstead. Oh, who would have thought? Not me, that he'd be injured. Connor Williams, injured, didn't play last game. Don't think he'll play this game. And then Isaiah Wynn on IR. Who would have thought he would get injured? Oh, not me. Never seen him play, only for 5 years in New England. He is going to get hurt. Oh, I told you. And then you've got the defense, David Long. Who thought he would get hurt? Oh, not me. He's hurt. And then you look at the secondary, Xavier Howard's injured. I don't know if he's going to play. Jalen Ramsey, is he coming back? I don't know. Is he even going to be the same guy? I don't know. Javon Holland, oh, Canada, is probably going to play. He's tough. He doesn't actually get hurt that often. So I think he'll play. But this is the difference. All right. Andrew Van Ginkel is not going to terrorize Mac Jones in this game because Trent Brown is going to play. And Trent Brown's number one PFF tackle. And on the other side, you've got Michael Onwenu because Dante Scarnicchia went into the Patriots Hall of Fame last week, took Bill's head, shoved it straight up his ass, and said, why is Michael Onwenu not playing right tackle and Viadrian Lowe is? Viadrian Lowe, sit your ass on the bench. Michael Onwenu at right tackle. Give Mac Jones some time. And then what happened? Mike Vrabel said, Bill, why are you playing this slow old man named Devontae Parker over this young quick man named Douglas? Douglas plays, Bourne plays. It's no coincidence that the Patriots actually played good offense when they had different personnel on the field. So everyone is going to say that New England was a fluke last week. New England is not going to do anything in this game. But here is the fact of the matter. New England has a different team now. They have new receivers. They have a new offensive line. They're secondary. They didn't have J.C. Jackson against the Dolphins in the first game. They didn't have Jonathan Jones, the Tyreek Hill stopper, in the first game. Okay? I get it. They had Christian Gonzalez. That's beside the point. That doesn't help the narrative. I'm going with the Patriots to win. 27-24, Mac Jones, 2 wins in a row. First win versus Tua. He's going to do it. He beat Josh Allen last week. He's going to do it this week because the Patriots are back. Patriots win straight up. Give me the 9 points. Miami's hurt. Miami is soft. And New England has figured it out. They've figured it out. They're going to win. I'm telling you. Take it to the bank. Next, you've got the Cleveland Browns at the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going with Cleveland here. I like Cleveland in this game. I think the Cleveland Browns win this football game straight up. Why? Cleveland has a better offensive line. Cleveland has a better defensive line. Seattle's offense has not been playing well. Geno Smith is not playing well. I think Cleveland's going to have a huge bounce back game on defense. I think that they're going to lock up the Seattle offense and they're going to win like 16-13 through their defense. Myles Garrett has been right there with TJ Watt. And I feel like Cleveland I get it. Seattle probably better overall, but this is a bad matchup for Seattle. A team on the defensive line that just lost their best edge rusher in Nwosu, who I feel like won't be able to get a ton of pressure here. And then on the other side, I just think Seattle is going to have a really tough time with Cleveland's defense. I don't see how they've barely been scoring against the Giants, against the Cardinals. against the Panthers they've played. They've won those games. Congratulations, you beat those shitty teams. Now you play a real team. I don't care if it's PJ Walker. Give me the Browns. Next, the Baltimore Ravens at the Cardinals. Now, this one was going to be a best bet. I'm not even going to lie. This was going to be a best bet until I heard that Kyler Murray might play. So now that scared the bejesus out of me. So I'm not going to make it a best bet. If Kyler Murray plays, I'm not betting because, especially in the first game, he could just run around in circles and like do his Kyler Murray thing where he just pulls a play out of his ass and then they'll end up covering the spread in the last play of the game. And I don't really want to deal with that in my life. So I'm going to take Baltimore to win. I have no idea. If Kyler Murray plays, I'll take the Cardinals to cover. But if Kyler Murray does not play, I'll take the Ravens to cover. The Ravens look like maybe the best team in the NFL right now with a super balanced team on offense and defense. Lamar, MVP. MVP. And they might get Derrick Henry at the trade deadline. So give me the Ravens, but I'm not messing with Kyler Murray. I'm not doing that. Next, Kansas City Chiefs at the Denver Broncos. Chiefs to win, Broncos to cover. Yes, sir. I think the Broncos are going to make this game close for no reason whatsoever. Usually one of these games is close, if not both. The last game was decided, I think, by 11, and the Chiefs didn't score as many points as you expected them to, and the Broncos had a terrible game on offense. I don't think the Broncos play that bad on offense this time. Nick Bolton's probably going to be out for the Chiefs. I think that helps the Broncos run the ball a bit better in this game. I think that will open some things up down the field. This game's also in Mile High compared to Arrowhead, which will help the communication up front and things of that nature. I do think the Chiefs will move the ball pretty successfully here. Their run game hasn't been quite as good as of late. I will say that. Their offense has been really, really good. But the Broncos, I think, have been getting a bit better against the run. And the Broncos' defense has been getting a bit better. I don't know why the Chiefs, sometimes they just don't really play up to their potential. I think that is going to be what happens in this game, where the Chiefs probably get out to an early lead. They slump during the middle of the game. The Broncos surge back, make it competitive in the fourth quarter, and Mahomes wins it in the fourth quarter, and it will be like 28-24, and everyone will be like, how did the Chiefs only win by 4? But that's what I think is going to happen. So Chiefs win, Broncos cover. Next, Cincinnati at the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers favored by 3.5. Samuel Darnold is the starting quarterback because Brock Purdy has a conky. He has a concussion. He will be out. I don't think he'll play. Will Trent Williams play? Big question for me. And honestly, that might be the difference between who wins this game. If Trent Williams plays, I feel like the Niners will win. If Cincinnati doesn't have to face big Trent Williams, the bodyguard, I feel like that Cincinnati will win the game. But as you guys can tell, I don't really think that Sam Darnold is that much worse than Brock Purdy, or that he will be such a downgrade to the point where the Niners will not win this game. If you've noticed, the Niners have been really good at home this year. I mean, I went to one of the games at home, and they blew the doors off the Cowboys in a way that I don't think any team has dominated a good team all year. It was that impressive. But you look at what the Niners have done at home. They've been really good on offense and really good on defense. And they've lost 2 road games in a row. Do we think they're going to lose 3 games in a row? I don't know. That being said, the Bengals are a great test. They're coming off the bye. Burrow is probably going to be healthy. Their receiving core is really talented and will give the Niners a great test on defense. But I am going to pick the Niners. The reason I'm going to pick the Niners is they're at home. Their defense, I think, is going to have a huge response to how they played against the Vikings, because I still believe it's a good unit. I think they're going to play a lot better here. I don't like how the Bengals match up with the Niners in a couple of different ways. Their run defense this year has not been very good, Cincinnati's. I think McCaffrey will have a nice game. Secondly, I think that their their offense is very simple. And I also think that their offensive line is the weakness of their team, which I think means the Niners get a good pass rush in this game. And I feel like they can be all over a lot of their concepts where it's going to be less of a show by the offensive coordinator that we saw in Minnesota. I think that the Niners win because everyone's going to expect them to lose now that Purdy's got a concussion. But Sam Darnold's going to come up, and I think Sam Darnold's going to play better than expected. And I think that's just going to be one of those games where the backup quarterback comes in and the rest of the team elevates for that backup quarterback. That is what I think is going to happen in this game. Next, Sunday Night Football. Chicago at the Chargers. Are you telling me I get 8.5, 9 points against Brandon Staley? Yo, who is making this line? I would take the BC Lions. I would take the Toronto Argonauts with 9 points taking on Brandon Staley. The one thing I can count on in this game is that Brandon Staley will not double cover DJ Moore. I guarantee it. You can take this to the bank. DJ Moore will be running open all game long. You're giving me 8.5. I don't care who the quarterback is. Jim McMahon, Rex Grossman, Kyle Orton, Jay Cutler, Mitchell Trubisky, or Teabag. I'm taking the Bears with the points. This is a joke. This is a joke. A joke. Brandon Staley's going to cover 8.5? In what world? In what world? Justin Herbert can't hit a pass, bro. He is looking injured. Whatever's going on with his hand is messed up. He can't throw the ball the same. He's not the same guy. Give me the Bears with the points. I'm going to take the Chargers to win because I'm not an idiot. But Brandon Staley, 8.5, unbelievable. Next, the Las Vegas Raiders at the Detroit Lions. This is tricky. I feel like this spread is really tricky. I'm going to take the Lions to win for sure. I'm staying away from the spread. It's tricky. I could see the Raiders being in the game and maybe covering this. But at the end of the day, I'm going to lean towards a Lions bounce back game. So I'm going to go with the Lions to win, Lions to cover. And I think the main reason why is a lack of creativity from Josh McDaniels' offense, a lack of downfield passing game from Jimmy Garoppolo, and the Lions are really good against the run, and I think they'll stop the Raiders' run game. I also believe that if you stop Max Crosby, you can score on the Raiders, and I think that the Lions have a very good offensive line, so I think they will bounce back at home and win by like 10 to 14. But there could be a game here that maybe is close, but I don't quite see it. So I'm going to go with the Lions to win, Lions to cover, Lions to bounce back after an embarrassing loss versus MVP. All right, guys, there it is. Week number 8 picks. If you enjoyed, 105 people in the chat, appreciate it. But what? 37 likes. Should be at least 50. Gronk, spike the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, man. Thank you so much for watching. Check out Patreon if you want all of my bets this week. And also, check out my best bets video. It's Mitch. Good luck with your bets. Good luck with your picks. And good luck to your team. Go Pats, go. Peace.